Okay, today is Monday, November 18th, 2024. We do have a quorum present, so we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And I'm going to ask everybody to stand. Paul Mastella is going to read our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Paul. Paul is also going to read our board mission statement.
Through high expectations and equitable opportunity, Tolosa Midway Independent School District will focus on the whole child by providing a safe environment and high-quality curriculum with diverse and enriching experiences.
Thank you, Paul. Do we have any public comment? No. Okay, no public comment, so we're going to move on to our board member recognitions.
Madam President, will you join me? We have 3 trustees that we would like to recognize for their service. I'll have you.
It might be kind of hard for me to read these. With our deepest appreciation, we hereby honor Janie Ambiano. With this award in recognition of your 3 years of visionary guidance, exceptional leadership, and unconditional commitment to serving as a member of the Tolosa Midway ISD Board of Trustees, thank you.
Yes, I would like to say something. To the TMISD community, I thank you so much for entrusting me with your children to make great choices, ask hard questions, and wonderful decisions to serve you as a community. We got a lot of really great things done in my tenure. We passed a bond. We got this man who has done wonders for this district, and I entrust my seat to an educator of 40 years, teacher, assistant principal, principal superintendent, adjunct professor. So I am very, very thankful to have my seat turned over to you. Thank you all for allowing me to serve your students, your community, and with this amazing board. Thank you. Oh, show my award, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With our deepest appreciation, we hereby honor Ben Benavides. With this award in recognition of your 4 years of visionary guidance, exceptional leadership, and unconditional commitment to serving as a member of the Tolosa Midway ISD Board of Trustees. Thank you.
I too want to say to the TM community, thank you for entrusting me. It's been a while, 4 years. A lot of things have changed for the better, and they will continue to get better. And I trust Mr. Boone is going to do good things on my seat. And congratulations, and thank you everybody for the support, and the kids. We gotta do right by them. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
our deepest appreciation, we hereby honor Paul Mostella. And I'm gonna read it first. Yeah, I'm gonna try to read it. With this award in recognition of your 26 years
And a half.
of visionary guidance, exceptional leadership, and unconditional commitment to serving as a member of the Tolosa Midway ISD Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Well, in speeches and everything, it's kind of hard to follow people that always say everything that's important. But the Tolosa Midway community has always been important. Seen a lot, been through a lot, enjoyed every moment. I'm gonna miss the kids, the teachers, but I'm still gonna be around, so that'll be it. And, you know, it's a wonderful opportunity, like Bennett said. The last several years, things have progressed at a faster pace than some districts. Our leadership has come in and improved the educational opportunities for our students by partnering with A&M Kingsville, Beeville Community College, and Del Mar, and other programs that are giving kids an opportunity. Plus, the new CTE building that's going to be constructed is going to have far-ranging opportunity for all of our kids, those that can get involved in it. And it's wonderful to have been part of that. I've been through construction of about every building in this district, with the exception of a couple that were still here and we didn't do anything to. But it's grown. The future looks good. The future is going to be good because it's going to be a relatively new board here with new ideas and new perspectives. And the thing is I want to remind all the board members, you have to work together as a team of 8. You have good leadership, you have good opportunities, and it's time to keep moving Tolosa Midway forward. We've got a lot of opportunities, a lot of expectations, and we owe that to our community, our students, and in particular our teachers. And I want to thank everybody. I'll be what they call a recovering board member. And I learned that from going to a lot of TASB training and everything, and there will be a board member up there giving a presentation. He says, I'll let you know, I'm a recovering board member. So that will be it. I'll be retiring, but I will not go away. I'll still be around. Talk to Mr. Crabtree. I'm hoping we can set up something where I can go and read the elementary kids. And keep moving forward. Don't look back. Go forward. You've got the opportunities, you've got the leadership, you've got the talent here. It's for our kids. And one other thing. I know since we put a camera in, back when I first started, it wasn't but anything with pencil and paper, writing, everything. Then I saw a comment one time somebody said, well, he's sleeping during a board meeting. I've never slept through a board meeting. Or in a board meeting, we get a lot of information back there. It's a lot of paperwork to read. And I can't really see the screens that they have put up there, so I read it off the paper and off the little iPad and everything. So it's something different. But just keep moving forward, stay positive, and think about the kids. Always. Outcome.
Thank you.
You should have seen some of the pictures when I first got on the board. I had hair, and this wasn't gray. Times change.
All right, now we're moving on to canvassing the board election results. Number one is consideration and approval of a resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the TMISD Board of Trustee election. Resolution canvassing the returns and declaring results of the general election held November 5th, 2024, for the purpose of electing 3 members to the Board of Trustees of the Tolosa Midway Independent School District in place 1, 3, and 4. Whereas on August 15th, 2024, the Board of Trustees of the Tolosa Midway Independent School District ordered a general election to be held on November 5th, 2024, for the purpose of electing trustees for District Place 1, Place 3, and Place 4. And whereas the order of the Board of Trustees calling the election, together with the notice thereon, is recorded in the board minutes and is hereby referenced to and made a part hereof for all purposes. And whereas said election was ordered and agreed to be held jointly with the County of Nueces, Texas, who would appoint all election officers necessary to run the election. And whereas said election was duly held at the time and place specified. And whereas every general election in Texas must be canvassed in accordance with section 67.001-67.002 of the Texas Election Code. And whereas on this date came to be considered the results of said elections held as ordered, and now, therefore be it resolved by the Tolosa Midway Independent School District that 1, on Monday, November 18th, 2024 at 6 p.m., the Board of Trustees of the Tolosa Midway Independent School District canvassed the results of the November 5th, 2024 general election in accordance with Chapter 67 of the Texas Election Code. 2, said election was duly called, that notice was given in accordance with the law and in accordance with the order calling the election, that the election was held in accordance with the law, that due returns of said election have been made by proper officers supplied by Nueces County, Texas. 3, in said election, the candidate Brian Boone received a majority of votes cast for place 1 by receiving 2,190 votes, while candidate Ben Benavides received 2,048 votes. And pursuant to this official canvass, the said Brian Boone is declared elected Board of Trustee for Place 1 for the Tolosa Midway Independent School District. 4, in said election, the candidate Madi Jimenez received a majority of votes cast for Place 3 by receiving 2,244 votes, while candidate Peggy Hatcher received 1,620 votes. And pursuant to this official canvass, the said Madi Jimenez is declared elected Board of Trustees for Place 3 for the Tolosa Midway Independent School District. In said election, the candidate Ricardo Chapa received a majority of votes cast for Place 4 by receiving 1,961 votes, while candidate Joe Dela Paz Jr. received 1,826 votes. And pursuant to this official canvass, the said Ricardo Chapa is declared elected Board of Trustee for Place 4 for the Tolosa Midway Independent School District. The tabulations of votes cast in the general election held on November 5th, 2024, for the purpose of electing 3 members to the Board of Trustees of the Tolosa Midway Independent School District is attached hereto as Exhibit A. Said tabulation is adopted as the official tabulation of the votes cast at the election and will be filed and recorded in the official records of the Tolosa Midway Independent School District. The meeting at which this canvassing was conducted was open to the public, and public notice of the time, place, and purpose of the meeting was given and posted as required by Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended. This resolution is effective immediately from and after the date of its passage, and it is so enacted. Passed and approved by the Board of Trustees of the Tolosa Midway Independent School District this 18th day of November 2024. All right. Moving on to number 2, issue certificate of declared election. In the name and by the authority of the Board of Trustees, Tolosa Midway Independent School District, this is to certify that opposed candidate for Place 1, Tolosa Midway Independent School District, Board of Trustees Brian Boone, at a duty called board meeting and pursuant to the order issued on August 15th, 2024, is hereby declared to be elected to Place 1 for the purpose of the November 5th, 2024 election for a 4-year length of term. In testimony whereof I have hereunto signed my name and caused the seal of Tolosa Midway Independent School District, Corpus Christi, Texas, to be affixed on this 18th day of November 2024. In the name and by the authority of the Board of Trustees, Tolosa Midway Independent School District, this is to certify that the opposed candidate for Place 3, Tolosa Midway Independent School District Board of Trustees, Madi Jimenez, at a duty called board meeting and pursuant to the order issued on August 15th, 2024, is hereby declared to be elected to Place 3 for the purpose of the November 5th, 2024 election for a 4-year length of term. In testimony whereof I have hereunto signed by my name and caused the seal of Tolosa Midway Independent School District, Corpus Christi, Texas, to be affixed on this 18th day of November 2024. In the name and by the authority of the Board of Trustees, Tolosa Midway Independent School District, this is to certify that opposed candidate for Place 4, Tolosa Midway Independent School District Board of Trustees, Ricardo Chapa, at a duty called board meeting and pursuant to the order issued on August 15th, 2024, is hereby declared to be elected on Place 4 for the purpose of the November 5th, 2024 election for a 4-year length of term. In testimony whereof I have hereunto signed my name and caused the seal of Tolosa Midway Independent School District, Corpus Christi, Texas, to be affixed on this 18th day of November 2024. And now we are going to move on to number 3, issue statement of election.
Statements of election have already been signed by the board members, so now we'll bring Judge Rubio up.
Okay. And we are blessed to have Judge Rubio to come up and do this for us.
Are we ready?
We are.
I'll call Mr. Brian Boone. Is this the right place you want to
No,
be?
it's perfect.
Okay. Go ahead, stand here. Raise your right hand, and you're going to repeat after me. I, Brian Boone,
I, Brian Boone,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the office
execute the office
of a Tolosa Midway ISD
of a Tolosa Midway ISD
Board of Trustees, Place 1
Board of Trustee, Place of One
of the state of Texas,
of the state of
and
Texas,
will do
and will do
the best of my ability
the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state,
and of the state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. You should go. Let me- I have you sign some bits. Chrissy, you want to face
Mr.
this
Boone,
way?
if you don't mind sitting
Face the
right there.
audience?
right at that chair if you don't mind sitting there. And then Judge Walker.
You're gonna sign it right there, and then I will sign it after you. Okay, it's done.
Bye-bye. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Ms. Mari Jimenez? Not a problem. Raise your right hand. I, Mari Jimenez,
I, Mari Jimenez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will
that I will
faithfully
faithfully
execute the office
execute the office
of a
of a
Tolosa Midway ISD
Toloso Midway ISD
Board of Trustee,
Board of Trustee,
Place 3
Place 3,
of this state of Texas,
of this state of Texas,
and will,
and will,
to the best of my ability,
and the best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you send it up there.
It's okay, baby. It's okay, baby. Mama's fine, mama's fine. Mama's good. Mama's good. She's beautiful. Mommy's fine. She's fine. She's doing good job, good job.
It's okay. It's okay.
I need to go sit down. You're fine. I love you so much. Sit right here in mommy's chair, okay? And watch mommy. Just sit down. Sorry. Sit down. You're good.
It's an emotional day.
Yes, it is.
It's a proud day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I, Ricardo Chapa,
I, Ricardo Chapa,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
and
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the office
execute the office
of the Tolosa Midway ISD
of the Tolosa Midway ISD
Board of Trustee,
Board of Trustees,
Place 4
Place 4
of this state of
of the
Texas,
state of Texas,
and will,
and will,
to the best of my
to the
ability,
best of my ability,
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and
the
laws
constitutional laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
You sign it right there. Okay, it's done.
Do it.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure to be here. It is such an honor to be here, being a board member from CCIZ for almost 15 years. And where's Paul? I want you to know, thank you. When we used to go to training over in Austin, my district did not participate in some of the activities, but they would have lunch for us. And every year that I would go, I didn't have a place to sit because my people never showed. So Tolosa Midway ISD, and at the time was Aaron C. Nelson, trained this board member here and some of the other ones always included me in their dinner table. So for that, it just means a lot to me, and Toloso has a special place in my heart. And we moved over we're right close to the primary elementary. So now, I'm now one of y'all. So again, thank you for the honor, and good luck to everyone.
Thank you so much. We have something for you. Sorry.
No, we have to take care of you.
Okay, this is how we
Yeah,
have.
that's a little.
Okay, she's gone, she's gone. And she's
That's
off.
okay.
You come and you do this for us so often that we can't thank you enough. And you know that we're going to keep calling on you.
Please do, okay?
But we want to give you a token of our appreciation
That's
for
so
everything that you've
sweet.
done.
Thank
Some,
you.
some of our favorite colors.
Of course. Oh, that's beautiful.
Over here. Here too. Got it, thank you.
Thank you. Again, it's my honor.
Well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And again, good job. I've got friends that don't tell good things about you.
We go back to Moody.
I know.
And at the pleasure of the board, we would like to take a recess, if it is all right with all of you. It's 6:26. Before we open it up for discussion, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood the duties and responsibilities of board members. We have 4 officer positions, president, vice president, secretary, and vice secretary. The responsibilities of the president is to preside at all board meetings, have the right to discuss, make motions and resolutions, and vote on all matters coming before the board, appoint committees, call special meetings, and sign all legal documents required by law. Vice president act in capacity of president in absence of the president. The secretary will act in capacity of president in absence of the president and sign all legal documents required by law. And the vice secretary will act in capacity in absence of the secretary. So I do open it up for the discussion from all of the board members. I would like to add that there is training that will have to be done by the 3 new board members. Lots of training. You can ask the board members that are sitting right now. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows what officer positions, what they do, and all the training that'll come along with that also. So I open it up for discussion. Is there anything that you want to add?
No, I think
Okay.
you did a very thorough job. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. All right, is there any discussion? I know that one thing that could be discussed is that we do have an open position now because Denise Villalobos is the new HD 34 state representative. So we do only have 6 members right now. Food for thought is, do we want the 7th member sitting here before we reorganize the board? Or we just open it up for discussion for people to talk about what we want to do? We are a team of 7 right now, including Mr. Van Matry. So we do have a seat that's open right now. So this is y'all's time to talk.
I think we should wait until we have that 7th person to be able to decide who our officers' positions or whatnot.
Well, it would make sense with the training. I mean, there's governance, there's understanding what the positions are, and there are even classes that you can take to understand what those roles actually are. So I would agree with that.
Now, we do have, just so that everybody is aware, Leo is sitting in for secretary now because Janie was secretary and he was vice secretary. So he did take up that role for tonight just so that we had someone doing the minutes and stuff.
Just myself, I think that so we have 3 returning board members, and we have 3 that were elected most recently. From my vantage point, I think that we would be able to vote tonight. It wouldn't change my thought process as far as who I would prefer to sit in our positions. But everybody else, I just wanted to express my opinion.
The only thought I have of waiting for the training is it's not like you have to finish that training by next week.
Right.
Like, you have months to finish that training. Like, it could go into next year. If you're saying we want to train for the spots that are available,
Well, we wouldn't be
Hopefully.
training for just those spots. We would be training
but are we training
just
the
as a
governance, like the
trustee.
whole?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, like, if you're gonna wait till they're fully trained, I'm not even fully trained yet, like, you know what I mean, it takes years to do that. So that may be something to think about. I think tonight, if it doesn't sound like there's a rousing, let's do it tonight, maybe it's food for thought for everybody. I do think it needs to happen. I do think there's some things that need to, and it's not a shot at anybody, it's not anything like that. I just think change is good sometimes, to get some different perspectives, get some different people in the right, in different spots, maybe handle, have different methods of the way they do business. And so I don't have a problem voting tonight, but I also don't have a problem letting everybody kind of, because the new board members are probably a little overwhelmed tonight, like, with a lot of information. If you make a decision today, how long does it last? All those type of things, which we can talk through. But I can go either way. I can vote tonight, Leo, and we vote tonight, or I can wait, whatever the team
We
decides.
can vote. I'm the same way. Doesn't bother me. We can vote if you want to. Who's the vice president? Paul?
Paul is.
So are you asking for nominations?
I'm asking for nominations, or I'm asking for a motion to
I'll-
push it
I'll make
further
that.
out, like you commented, or we take a vote.
I'm fine if y'all want to vote, that's fine.
What I'm thinking is if Paul's vice president, we can just, if he is interested, we can move him to president. If you're interested, I don't have a problem.
I'd be
nominating.
interested, yeah, definitely.
You know,
I feel like
I can make
Kim's
that
taught me
nomination.
enough. She's done a good job.
Yes, she is.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in.
Okay, so someone has to make
Okay.
a nomination.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to nominate Paul as president.
Okay, and we'll need a second for that.
I'll second.
Okay. Did you write all that down, William?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. Well, this is closed session, so I didn't know if it was closed.
You have to
meeting.
write down everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion made by Leo and a second made by Rick. For president, for Paul. I can just say Paul now.
Yeah.
That's what they were.
I've always had to
Well, I did
say,
learn Brian's middle name is Paul.
he doesn't go by
Nobody
that.
called me except my mom. When she's mad.
But she's, and it's Brian Paul, right?
That's right.
Oh, no, now everybody knows. Okay. We have a motion made by Leo and a second by Rick to nominate Paul for president. Any discussion about that? If there's no discussion, all those in favor? None opposed, motion will carry.
Congratulations.
6-0.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Congrats.
confidence, and I hope I make y'all happy, and I hope everybody, we continue to grow and do great things, because I think we're on the right move.
Absolutely. All right.
And Kim, just let me say from the administrative, you did an amazing job.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate that. All right.
I agree.
So Vice President,
I'd like to nominate Leo Gonzalez for vice president.
do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Can I nominate somebody?
Let me catch up. Okay, who made
I
the
did.
second? Sorry, Monty.
Marty.
Marty, second.
Forgive me.
It's okay.
Okay, and then we have another.
Yeah, I was gonna nominate Ricardo, but that's what I had planned to begin
Okay,
with.
let's move forward with the motion that we have.
Okay.
And if that doesn't pass, we can move forward with a different motion.
Okay.
So right now, we have a motion made by Brian and seconded by Monty for vice president to be Leo. All those in favor?
You don't want the job?
Huh?
I said, you don't want the
Well,
job?
I mean,
Okay. None opposed, motion carries 6-0.
There's a 30-day
Congratulations,
trial
Leo.
period.
Congratulations.
Okay, now, secretary, board secretary. Do we have a motion? Just so you know, you do take minutes. Leo's getting his first experience tonight.
I nominate
Anybody
Mr. Chapa.
interested? Okay.
I'd rather not.
Okay,
I'd like to sit maybe a couple of years, gain a little experience and then, lead one way or the other. I prefer not to have an office this year.
okay.
Well, I nominate Monty.
Is that
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, secretary.
She's definitely got it together. I watched her earlier with all her mom duties. She definitely got it going.
Okay, just remind me. Sorry, everybody's talking. Motion was made by,
Me, Paul. Paul, Leo second.
second by
Mayor
Leo,
Carlos,
for
second.
Monty to be secretary. So I have a motion made by Paul and a second for Leo for our new board secretary to be Monty. All those in favor?
Okay.
None opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And now we have a vice secretary.
Kim, real quick, it was Mr. Chapa.
Oh, Chapa was second.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got them written down too, Leo. Vice secretary, do we have a motion for that?
I nominate Kim.
Second.
Motion.
Was it
Paul?
Kim? Did you-
Kim.
I appreciate that. Motion made by Monty and a second by Paul for vice secretary to be Kim. All those in favor? None opposed?
Was that like, I was there.
Motion carries 6-0. So congratulations, y'all.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Aaron.
All right. So, there you go.
Oh, it starts right now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Then you get a
It's actually 30 days.
Supposed to get a gallon. Okay, so now we are on
Number
to
two.
Number 2. All right, now we're going to discuss and consider approval of TM Education Foundation donation grant.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is a good item.
Yes.
That you're going to enjoy. In fact, since 2022, we've had a 56% increase in the amount of funds that the foundation has been able to donate back to our teachers. So we have the president, who needs no introduction. She's so involved at TM. Melinda, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you all. I just want to say just a couple of quick words before I hand over this check that Mr. Alvarado has been trying to peek at all evening. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. So the Education Foundation Grant Application Review Committee, comprised of 3 directors from the foundation, has met and reviewed 22 grant proposals submitted during our call for grants. We are very happy to announce that we are funding 20 grants this grant cycle. The foundation is pleased to present to you tonight the Board of Trustees with a check in the amount of $63,244.31 to fund the designated innovative teaching grants during the 24-25 school year. I think it's important to note that these funds are raised from community as well as from our big providers that are around here and TM employees, signifying the broad range of support and fine reputation for educational excellence that the district holds. So today, on behalf of the Education Foundation, I would like to present to you this check from the foundation for $63,244.
Thank y'all for what y'all do, Melinda.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for going to the luncheon, going to our 5K. Hopefully, we bring back our golf tournament this year. All those things that help us continue to do our mission by granting being able to grant these wishes with the grants. So thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. One of the things that you may not know is that this process was moved up earlier in the school year. You want
Yes.
to talk about that?
Yes, so what we were trying to do was get all these grants reviewed, all these requests, so we can be sure to fund them as soon as possible, get all these things into our teachers' hands by the time we get back from our winter break, so we can see all of them in action. This is the type of stuff that we want everyone to see what we actually do, and whenever we have our big sponsors who buy the tables to these luncheons, who buy the teams for our golf tournament, see them in action right away. So we were really excited to do that, and then pretty soon you'll hear about it. Hopefully you'll see it on the news when we have our prize patrol, when we go give these out and let everybody know who won, and then we're gonna be super excited to see them in action. So it's great. Mr. Arriaga?
Thank you.
And this goes to this gentleman right here.
Oh, he was waiting for that. I don't know who is wanting to see it harder. Thank you.
So now, Paul, you get to go to
y'all.
the Education Foundation.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Melinda.
President Post Office.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And you're welcome.
I'm sure it's a great thing.
Okay, Mr. President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the donation amount of $63,244.31 from the Tolosa Midway Education Foundation to fund the 20 designated innovative teaching grants for the 2024-2025 school year as presented.
Okay, do we have so I read it again, I said, we have a motion.
I'll make a motion for
Okay,
that.
Kim made the motion. I'll second.
Go ahead, Mark.
Brian second. Okay. It is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the donation amount of $63,244.31 from the Tolosa Midway Education Foundation to fund the 20 designated innovative teaching grants for the 2024-2025 school year as presented. All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Great
Thank you,
job.
guys.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. Next, we'll move to discuss and consider approval of the out-of-state field trip request for the TM Middle School Student Council to attend the National Student Council Conference in Chicago, Illinois, from January 30th through February 2nd of 2025.
Mr. President, members of the board, we have Ms. Stegall with us today and a special guest.
Yes.
And I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, and for those of you who are new on the board, I'm Angela Stegall. I'm the librarian at the middle school, and I'm also the student council advisor. I've worked at TM since 1994, and I love this place. And I love student council, and I really love it because I have kids like Isabella Schmidt, who is our student council president this year. She's an 8th grader. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing here today?
Sure. Well, hi, she already introduced me, but I am Bella Schmidt. I am the middle school student council president at TM, but I am also on the National Student Council. It was newly created this year, and I am the junior vice president of membership. And I was asked to attend the spring conference that is in Chicago, as y'all said. And I would like to ask for y'all's permission to go.
Wow.
Definitely.
So what's really wonderful about this is the very first year they've had the National Student Council. We were a National Gold Council of Excellence last year. There was only one other middle school in the state of Texas that won that award. And so they reached out to me and they said, do you have any exceptional kids in your student council? And I was like, yes, of course. So 3 of them applied to run for that position. And then they selected her to run, and we had, 4 kids or 5? 4 students from around the country that ran. And you couldn't send emails or anything like that. It was all social media. And she's like, how am I supposed to do that? I don't know the whole country. You know what I mean? But it went out there and everything, and she won the election. So that was really awesome. And at this particular conference, she'll be helping them run the conference. What kind of experience is that for a kid that's 14 to be able to go and do that? So we would humbly ask your permission to go.
And she also just helped with running an event also with student council, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did. You want to tell them about
Well,
that?
we just came back from the middle school state conference where she spoke to the whole conference, there's 500 and something kids. She's presented to the Texas Association of Secondary School Principals here recently. She's really getting a workout. But it's great.
Good.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And do you have some guests with you that you'd like to introduce
This
to our
is-
board?
This is my mom and this is my dad.
Congratulations.
Right.
Wow, I'm just,
It's very exciting.
yeah.
Very proud.
Just, congratulations. This doesn't happen by accident. A lot of hard work, and Ms. DeGaulle, your leadership is unbelievable. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you.
Well, thank you, we appreciate that.
She gets to impact every student.
Absolutely. Okay, Mr. President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the out-of-state field trip request for the Tolosa Midway Middle School Student Council to attend the National Student Council Conference in Chicago, Illinois, from January 30th to February 2nd, 2025, as presented.
Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Oh, go ahead. Monty, please second.
Any second? All right.
Yeah. It's going to be cold.
Warm clothes.
Okay, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the out-of-state field trip request for the TM Middle School Student Council to attend the National Student Council Conference in Chicago, Illinois, from January 30th to February 2nd, 2025, as presented. All those in favor? That carries 6-0.
Congratulations.
Enjoy.
Have fun.
Sorry we had to keep you waiting a little bit.
Yes.
I apologize for that, but wow, I'm just so impressed.
Thank you so much.
And can she come back and tell us about it?
Of course she can.
Congratulations, Bella. I'm so proud of you.
Congratulations, sweetie.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for all you do.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, of course.
Paul, congratulations.
Enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bella, let's take a picture.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. DeGaulle, you want to join us for a picture?
Start tucking in my shirt.
More professional. The clothing allowance.
Go. 1, 2, and 3. Got it. Thank you.
All right, we gotta get down to
so
Navy
much.
You
Pier.
have a clothing allowance.
Check those things out.
And if it's
The
okay with you,
Magnificent
we're gonna go,
Mile.
so she's got homework.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
so much.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate
Good
it.
evening.
Thank you all so
Thank y'all for
much.
staying.
Thank you so much once
If
again.
anybody has
Thank
warm
you.
clothes in her size, let me know. I don't need it more than those 3 days.
Also, just really quick, I would really like to say how much we appreciate our principal, Melanie Arias, because she is unfailingly supportive of these kids. So we just really appreciate you.
Star.
She has speech and debate.
Okay, it just, it's like a sign. I'm in speech and debate.
She is.
All right. Number 4, right? All right, the next is report only, strategic plan, goal, progress measure number 5.
Mr. President, members of the board, for our new members, we have a strategic plan that represents our core values as a school district and our goals. And pretty much every month, we bring up conversation on one of our goals. And this is Ms. Riggs. She's our Human Resources Director, and she's going to present on Strategic Plan Goal Measure 5.
Good evening, Board President Arriaga, Mr. Van Matry, and Board of Trustees.
As Mr. Van Matron said, I get the pleasure of discussing District Goal Number 5. It is, and what it states is, community and staff members will believe in the direction of TMISD as evidenced by an annual increase in community and staff satisfaction and engagement. That says a lot, but what exactly does it say? We want to make sure that our employees are satisfied. So what does that mean? We want to make sure that they're happy with their job and that they're happy with their work and with their working conditions. We want to make sure that we're meeting their basic needs, that they have the compensation that they like, that they have job security. We want to make sure that they like their work environment, that they feel respected, that they like their office in their area, that they're getting the training and things they need. And we're also wanting to make sure that they feel that they fit their job, that they're properly utilized, and that they're really interested in what it is that they're doing. But when employees are satisfied, you typically have less turnover. You have a smaller likelihood of employees getting burned out or being frustrated, and they're typically happy about the organization. So that's typically what that means if they're satisfied with their jobs. But we also want them to be engaged. We want them to have a deep connection to their job, to the organization. We want them to be motivated. And so employees who are engaged, they have a purpose, they believe in our mission and our vision, and they're enthusiastic, they go above and beyond. You ask them to do something, that initiative, sometimes you don't even have to ask them. They're gonna take that initiative and they're gonna go the extra mile. They're gonna believe in the organization, and they're gonna talk very high of the district. And so when you have that satisfaction and when you have that engagement, you have a higher morale, you have a positive culture, and you typically have better performance because everyone's just happy with they're satisfied and they're happy with the organization. So by year 2028, our goal is that 90% of our staff is going to be satisfied and hopefully engaged with the organization. We also have a goal of that every year we're going to increase our retention of highly qualified staff, faculty and staff, and that we're going to retain 100% so that when we start the school year, we don't have any vacancies. All positions are filled and we're ready to go for our students. So why is this important? Well, we understand that our people, our human talent, they're the most important asset that's working with our students. They're going to make sure that the student achievement is there. They're going to be the ones that are looking at our students to make sure that their well-being is, where it needs to be. And in order to do that, in order to keep our staff engaged and satisfied, we need to make sure that our compensation's where it needs to be, that we have a positive environment, that we have a good culture. But how much of our staff and our community is satisfied? So last year when I gave this presentation, I believe it was January of 2024, we only had baseline data for the community. Previously, when we were going toward the bond, we had hired, and I always say this name wrong, so I apologize. I think it was Basilis and Associates to do a community survey. One of the questions that we asked is, do you have a positive or negative impression of the Tuloso Midway Independent School District? Of the community members that responded, 84% said that they did have a positive impression of the district, with 6% being unsure. So by 2028, we want that to be 98%. We did not have any staff satisfaction benchmark data. Since that time, we did have a survey back in May. And so we sent out an email to all our employees that have access to email. I will tell you that our auxiliary staff, which is our transportation and our maintenance staff, they don't have access to email. So we're going to look at how we can engage them and survey them. But of those that have district email, we asked them questions about employee recognition, about compensation, and ultimately we asked about their overall satisfaction. When we did that survey in May, which was we didn't know what the results were going to be in May because at the end of the year, everyone's tired, we're waiting for the new year. And so when we did that, we got back that 78% of district employees who participated in the survey were either satisfied or very satisfied with their experience with the district. So we do have a little bit to move. We have things that we need to improve. When we looked at the survey, we identified 4 things that needed to be improved. That was employee recognition, our compensation and benefits, our mental health supports, and our communication. And so we've had some meetings. I know at the May meeting or the June meeting, when we discussed the survey, one of the things was, have you broken it down by campus? So we had not done that at that time. I want to let you know that we did break that information down by campus, and I did have a meeting with the principals in October, and I gave them their individual stats for their campus. In addition, I did share with them any of the responses that any of the respondents gave that wouldn't identify them, because I didn't want to have anyone's comment be identifiable, because I don't want them to not fill out the survey this upcoming year, because the same survey will be given to our staff May of 2025, because we're gonna benchmark them at the same time every year to see if that needle moves, which is our intent and hope. So in looking at the areas of improvement, employee recognition was one. I can tell you that each one of our campuses has created some sort of recognition program for their campuses. I will be following suit as a district whole starting in January. I'm gonna send out a Google form in December and start highlighting that over social media. I'd like for community and staff members to be able to nominate other staff members, or communities can nominate any staff member that they feel have gone above and beyond. And then we will start highlighting those employees, via district email, social media, and then we will also be bringing some of those employees for recognition to the board meetings. So I had just a few pictures and some examples of those employee recognition programs that were created at the campus level. I'm not sure if you've seen Chief of the Week from our primary. They have a really nice necklace, and every week somebody gets nominated as Chief of the Week, gets awarded, and then after they use it for a week, they get to add something to it. So by the end of the year, that chain should be full of things that represent everyone who have been a Chief of the Week. Our middle school has implemented our Way Out Warrior plan, or Way Out Warrior recognition. I think every 3 weeks they will recognize an employee who's gone above and beyond. And then at our ACC, it's Little School Big Chief, I believe is the name of the award, and they will do that every grading period. So Mr. Zavallo was the recipient for this last. Our intermediate has also implemented their GEM program, which is Great Employees Matter, so they will be recognizing theirs. And then our high school recognizes their employees with a cake at each birthday. And then any employee who nominates another employee will get recognized on their TMTV. So they will recognize them at that time. Other initiatives that we'll be doing in the HR department, we'll start creating appreciation posts. You'll see one this Friday, the 22nd. The 20th, this Wednesday, I believe, is Substitute Appreciation Day. So you'll see something on the website appreciating our substitutes. One of the comments that I found when we did the survey was people didn't even know who some of the people were in the building that they were working with. So once a month, at the beginning of the first week of the month, I'm gonna be sending out an email with all employees that were hired the month before. It'll have their picture, it'll have their campus and their job, just so that we have that email, and hopefully we can spur some welcome to the district type emails. And then, of course, we will have a recognition program. Right now, I have the name of Pride of the District. I'm still tinkering with the name, but we'll start generating those nominations in December so that we can start showing those recognitions in January. And then we are looking at Teacher of the Year, which has always been a really wonderful event for our district. This year, we're looking at a new format and new recognitions. So much so, we want the input of the employees. So we'll actually be sending out a survey to all our employees, asking them, what do you want to see? Are there other recognitions? I kind of wish we could recognize, substitute of the year, volunteer of the year, possibly business partner of the year, making sure that we hit everyone from the organization to recognize our exceptional employees. In addition, compensation and benefits was another area of an improvement. Of course, we're really hopeful that the legislator will fund our schools and, increase the basic allotment, which will then turn into raises for our staff. Regardless, our goal is to make sure that our compensation is within 10% of the market, which is Region 2. We have some work in some areas for that, but we're actually trending really well. We created a new compensation plan in August of 2023. The board approved it for the very first time. We made some enhancements to the compensation plan for this year, so the board approved that in August of 2024. And we recognize that there's still work that needs to be done. We still have some positions where equity adjustments need to be made. And we need to make sure that we are constantly reviewing the market to make sure that positions are in the right pay grade and that the pay grades are valued appropriately. Unfortunately, when we were unable to give the raise, it's not recommended for you to change the compensation valuations when there's no raise, so we didn't make changes to the scales. But we're hopeful that this upcoming year we're able to do that and give you a new recommendation. Pay and base salary is not all parts of compensation. Of course, we have our benefits. I will tell you that the benefits we have, we are very blessed to have an employee benefit specialist. Not every district has one position that is dedicated to benefits, but we are lucky to have that position. That position for the last, I believe, 3 years, Philip, has been housed in the business office. We made the decision when that position became vacant this year to move it to the HR department. So that came over in August. I can tell you we were able to hire. My department has been blessed. It felt like it was a 2-person department for quite a while, me and Miss Rodriguez, which if I could just take the time and appreciate her for all the hard work that she does. We now are a department of 4. So that's really great, but it's training and getting on board. So we're actively learning our benefits. And I'm looking, and I have been working really closely with our third-party administrator, our FBS, our Financial Benefits Services. I'm hoping to see if we can be strategic to reallocate some expenditures in other ways so that we could benefit our employees. So I'm looking at that possibility. And then the other thing I kind of want to do is create an insurance committee. So every year, there's a few plans that we shop. Last year, we had a pretty big year. We did dental. We did a lot of big ones. We have the opportunity to shop the accident plan and a few other small plans. When we do that, when we say that we shop, our broker goes out and looks at the market and comes back with like the top 5 plans. And then typically what would happen is the employee benefits specialist, along with a few of the folks in the business office, they would sit down and look at the plans and decide which would be better for the district, and then they would select those plans. What I'd like to do is have a little bit more transparency and allow some of the employees to have some more decision-making opportunities. So I'd like to take maybe 1 or 2 employees from every campus, have our broker present that to the employees and have them vote and decide which plan would be best for the overall group.
I think that's a great idea.
Wellness is also a big priority for us. Not only was it written in the survey, but I can tell you that Mr. Van Matry and I have had to deal with several issues in regard to mental health. And so I feel it's important that we really start making that a priority. So I am working again with FBS and our TRS district ambassador so that we can start providing more information to the staff in regard to mental health, in regard to suicide, in regard to what our benefits provide them if they need to see a counselor. So I know FBS is actively working on a benefits guide. We currently have a benefits guide for all our plans, and it's one book. What I've asked them to do is recreate the same book, but the only thing I want is for every plan that we have, tell me what mental health options are available with that particular plan, so that if that's an issue, we can provide that.
I have a question. A lot of times the insurance, if you initiate a wellness program and a lot of your participants engage in that program, that they'll actually reduce rates if they adhere to a workout schedule or,
Like a rally, kind of like Rally has that, where you get points.
Right. I mean, I know.
Money.
And you get certain exams, you get certain points.
Right, exactly,
Yeah, I
and
don't know.
it passes
TRS has that.
a reduction in premium to the district, then you can elect to pass it on to, now, I don't know exactly how you do your insurance, maybe it doesn't qualify because you're,
So TRS doesn't quite have that, but Blue Cross Blue Shield does, and it's called Blue Points. And I'm not sure that we've ever told our staff members that. And so if they activate it through Blue Cross Blue Shield, they'll get more like incentives and rewards than they will a decrease in premiums, because the premiums are dictated by an RFP for the entire district, for the entire region, and for the state.
it's a little bit different.
It's a
in terms
little
of-
bit
okay,
different.
I got you.
But yes, if we had the funds, and if, in the perfect world, that would be great, where if we could implement it ourselves and say, staff members, if you did this, this, and this, we'll increase our district contribution so that you pay less. But that's something more that we would typically have to implement. Unfortunately, we're not quite there, but that is something that would be my ultimate goal to get there. But right now,
And nobody in that realm has thought about like self-directed healthcare, that's a big push in the private industry. To where you don't pay a monthly, you may put $100 in there, but you pay higher deductibles, you pay a little bit less, your out-of-pocket might go up. But it's really controlled by the person taking care of themselves. That's the idea behind it, right? If it's self-directed, I'm gonna take care of myself with better health, but they don't have anything like that in there?
no, I think the only way we could do that would be is if we left TRS and we went out on our own. I can tell you, I've had to face that question, in my previous district. It's just really hard to make that jump, because once you make that jump, you're committed for 5 years. And so I've seen some districts, we have a neighboring district who did that, and the first year, everything looked wonderful. But then 2 years later, the co-op they went with completely collapsed. So then they're looking for different insurance. And so I haven't found it where I feel that if we went in that direction, I knew we'd be okay. And so it's just been really, really hard. It's like
And that means
TRS.
families without insurance when something collapses like that.
I don't know.
Well, they found other insurance. It's just, it's
It's a stress.
It's different.
Yeah.
Excuse me, who is their insurance provider?
Blue Cross Blue Shield,
Blue Cross Blue Shield?
or TRS.
Okay.
Which TRS is Teacher Retirement System.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And FBS is what?
Financial Benefit Services. Sorry, I use the acronyms because I'm so used to them.
That's all right.
They'll be have anything to add in regard to, okay.
No, just that we're in this difficult position of TRS keeps going up every year. That's controlled by the legislature. The legislature did help TRS during COVID a little bit to keep the rates from going up for that 1 year. But it is scary. TRS obviously wants to sustain their program, but it's just frightening, a little bit scary. If you step outside, you're on your own for 5 years and you can't go back to TRS for 5 years. And so when you go to the market, we're not a CCISD, we're not a huge district. So in order to maximize the benefit for our employees, it is a little daunting to consider that. TRS it's good insurance, but it keeps going up.
Well, and that's
If-
actually happening everywhere, not just for
It would
public
help-
schools.
It would help if
It's
the, if
just-
the legislature would help it out a little bit.
Yes, if they could help it out, or it's just really hard when we're unable to give raises, but the insurance goes up, so our employees' net pay in some cases does go down
Right.
due to those increases.
Or you give raises and then premiums still go up.
Mhm.
And there's
Yes.
no change.
So there's no change.
And so it's really hard. We've heard that there's gonna be another increase this year, hoping that it's not gonna be too high, but I've read somewhere where it could be anywhere between 8 to 10%, so, we'll have to wait and see.
And tell the board approximately what percentage of our staff uses our medical.
I wanna say when I saw the last census data, I think it was about 250,
What percent is that of our?
half, about half. So, we are gonna reintroduce a wellness program. We're gonna have a new logo, new activities. We are also gonna send out a survey to get more information. When would be, what kind of activities would you like to see? Would you like to see fitness challenges? Would you like to see health, food demonstrations? Would you like to learn about financial planning, different things like that that we can offer? And when would it be best to provide that? Would you rather get that before school, after school, a weekend? When is the best time to provide those types of activities? I also want to start a quarterly newsletter and then start something called Wellness Wednesdays, where maybe all I even do just for that week is send out something or information that I probably know that maybe not all our employees know about our insurance carriers, so we can send that out so we can give them information. We want to do fitness challenges, seminars, activities, and then of course with everything we do, we always want to evaluate, get feedback, and see if we're providing what our employees would like to see. So we do have some upcoming activities already. We're still working out on days and times. But the War Cats Taekwondo has offered to do a train your body and your mind seminar for every campus. They are offering 2 sessions of an hour. It is a Taekwondo / Aikido. It should help increase your self-esteem and reduce stress. It's 20 employees per campus, so I'll be sending out a Google Sheet for them to sign up. In addition, I am working with RBFCU to see if they can start providing quarterly.
Who is RBSCU?
Randolph.
The credit union.
Randolph Federal Credit Union.
Yes, the credit union, to see if they can do financial. They'll tell you, they have like a 1 hour on your credit score and why that's important. One that I want to kind of introduce to the staff now would be finding those spending leaks. How can you save money? If you have like 4 streaming programs, maybe if you have 2, that does provide some extra income or extra money to allocate elsewhere every month. And then I also have been in communication with Higapotham, which is our financial benefits services, our third-party administrator, to do some seminars on depression and anxiety, mental health, different things like that.
Kudos to our stakeholders that are stepping up and helping out with the wellness of the teachers and staff.
Yes.
That's really
That
neat.
has been really great. And the other thing that we found was communication was a big concern amongst staff. A lot of people just put the word communication. So what exactly does that mean? Again, we're gonna survey our staff. I know I've mentioned we're gonna survey them over 3 things, but it's just one survey that we're gonna be sending out, hopefully when they come back from Christmas break, to get more insight as to where those communication breakdowns occur. Is it timeliness? Is it at the campus? Is it at the district? Is it, where are those breakdowns? And if they can identify that for us so we can be more targeted when we try to make these improvements. One of the things that I can tell you that we are prioritizing right now is our district website. We recognize that there are things that are outdated and that need to be updated, so we are going to be working on that. And then I know that we're working on a district calendar so that we can have all of our information in one area. And then I just wanted to let you know that we are, very aware that we have some openings right now, especially with our diagnosticians. So we did go to a couple of recruiting activities 2 weeks ago. We went to A&M Kingsville and A&M Corpus. It was Ms. Booker and myself who went to both, and then Mr. Crabtree joined us at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I think it's important that when there are job fairs, that we have a presence and that, you know, those upcoming graduates see us and know that we're there. It's possible that we might have been fruitful with some elementary teachers, that we feel there's gonna be some retirements in December, that we have some people who are already interested that we were able to find through the job fair. And then I just wanted to show that we have, you know, some new recruiting flyers and things like that we've made, and we are going to be upgrading our swag a little bit because it's a little, it needs to be updated. So we're gonna be making some changes. So that's kind of just some things that have been going on in the HR department. Does anyone have any questions?
Great job.
Very good.
Thank you.
That was just a report only.
Okay. No other comments, questions? All right, so that's report only, no board action needed. The next item is discuss and consider approval of updates to compensation plan.
Mr. President, members of the board, we do see a need to bring to you an update in the compensation plan, specifically in the area of long-term substitutes. And anytime that a change is made regarding pay, it has to be board approved. It cannot be done unilaterally by administrators. So at this time, Ms. Riggs is going to discuss our recommendation for an amending the compensation plan.
Yes, we would like to make a change specifically to the substitutes portion of the compensation plan. We currently have 3 different categories of pay. One for our employees who have a GED or high school diploma, bachelor's degree, or certified teachers. We currently pay our certified teachers $125 per day. We have some teachers in the past and currently who have taken on long-term positions where we have somebody out on FMLA or we have a vacancy that we can't fill. We have a certified teacher who's taken on those duties for an extended period of time. Today, we are recommending that any certified teacher who spends more than 10 days in the same vacancy and/or assignment be paid $50 a day, $150 a day, which is an increase of $25 per day. Our thoughts are that, or what occurs is once you're there for 10 days, you become a teacher. You're having to do lesson planning, you're grading. At that point, you're having communications with parents, and you're doing everything that a teacher does, and they have that skill set to step in and do that job. And for that reason, we are requesting that we create a long-term pay for our certified teachers only, so that after they've been in the position for more than 10 days, they get $150 per day.
And that puts us, by looking at the board book that was sent out, that puts us pretty, I mean,
It's more.
it's puts us competitive.
Absolutely. And boy, is this needed. Those long-term subs, they're lifesavers to our kids.
Well, I've got a question. Why do we have long-term subs when we should have a teacher there? And if they're certified, are they certified in the subject that they're teaching the students? And why not make them an actual?
Sometimes they're not certified in that content area, and many times we'll have a vacancy, and we are trying to hire someone full-time, and in the interim, they act as a stopgap, or an employee may be on FMLA, which their job is protected by federal law, and that's where the long-term sub will come in.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to understand this. So you're saying that you have a certified teacher, for example, an English teacher, and you have a classroom that's for a math class, an algebra, geometry, you know, whatever, say a math class. And you have an English certified teacher in there. If she's not certified to teach math, but we need somebody in there, I don't understand how you can.
Well, we try to get the
profit.
certified math teacher in there.
Okay.
Oftentimes we are. Let's take a specific instance with the high school. we had a math teacher that started the year with us. And then, I don't know, 3-4 weeks into the school year, she took a position at A&M Kingsville. So we have a certified math teacher in there that's still in there, and we're planning to hire a rehire person that will be eligible to be hired. They have to sit out a year at the first of the year. That's the ideal situation, but sometimes we don't get to do the ideal situation, but we have to have a person in there.
Okay, so, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if these kids are having to take this big test and that they're trying to learn for, and then you have a teacher who's a substitute teacher who's not even of that subject, how do we expect our students to pass this if they really are not learning from an actual teacher?
Well, in most cases, we
Or certified
have,
in that subject?
in most cases, not all, we have credentialed teachers in there. We have a couple of principals here, and this isn't a rhetorical question, but for the 24-25 school year in the core content, have we had long-term subs that weren't credentialed in that content area?
No, so the math teacher I have is a former retired teacher. She has already accepted a new position in January. And she only really wants to work part-time. She's just kind of doing us the favor, if you will, to come every day. So what I care about is that my kids have a certified math teacher. Paying them extra keeps that same consistent teacher there the entire time, as opposed to flipping somebody in and out. So in that way, it's beneficial. We didn't anticipate that our teacher would leave. She signed a contract with us. A&M Kingsville made her an offer, so she went to go teach over there. We do have a plan to have Mr. Ramitri alluded to hire a rehire teacher who's also a coach, who's did 40 years with us, and was an amazing math teacher. But because of the way TRS works, he can't come back until February. So at that, we will probably be without a teacher for a couple of weeks as she moves from her position with us to her new position in CCISD. And then we'll take over, but it helps me as a principal make sure that at $150 a day, we can get the same person every day so that our kids are being served. But that's, the crux of what we're asking for is.
What about the middle school?
We've been fortunate enough to not been in that situation, but we try and find, in years past, we would find the best applicant, and we would do whatever it takes. We try our very best to keep our teachers in the core subjects, tested subjects, but we find that the best applicant that we can. But just like Gabe said, that's how we want to keep them. We want to increase their pay so that we can keep them.
And so you're asking a substitute teacher who is a certified teacher, working as a substitute, to go home and do the same type of work and spend the same type of hours outside of the classroom. So the incentive to keep them there, to continue to do that, would be to increase their pay. Otherwise, you're asking them to go home and grade papers
Exactly.
that a regular substitute wouldn't have to do, right?
Do lesson plans and.
And then let me ask you this question as well. So say you do not have a long-term sub certified, say for example, you said you don't have a certified teacher to act as a math teacher, but you do have a certified English teacher. But that teacher does come with experience in education, classroom management, and they would probably have the help of the department heads to help, right? But that experience in teaching in the classroom would help, correct?
Pedagogy skills.
Yes, sir.
And I can tell you, whenever a long-term sub position opens up and, one of the principals calls me, we start looking through all of our lists to see what are our substitutes credentialed in, so we can try to make the best match.
So at the end of it, what are you doing or trying to do, to hire teachers that are gonna come in at the end? I mean, are you going to A&M and trying to see if there's any teachers, or is our district affiliated with, Del Mar or A&M to get, student teachers to come over here and start doing their training to get certified, and then at the end of their year certificate or year training, we offer them a
Yes, we do allow student
contract.
teachers. We were at job fairs for A&M Kingsville and Corpus about 2 weeks ago. We're planning on doing the same thing in the spring, maybe even, going a little bit farther. We are actively, as soon as we know there's positions available, once we know, it's really hard. Like, right now, it's possible that we get some more retirees in December. It's probably unlikely, but it always can happen. We try to keep those channels open, and we look at our subs, we try to place them. And then in regard to the other question that you had earlier, since I've been here over the last year, our typical long-term vacancies for FMLA are usually due to maternity leave. And those are typically, it tends to be at the elementary levels. So at that point, we're looking for generalists and core subject teachers, and those are much easier to find. So I just wanted to let you know
I
that.
have a question. How's that going to affect our budget? Will it have any effect at all?
It'll have a very minimal fiscal impact.
Good.
Minimal. Because there's so few.
My question is, who monitors the system? How do we know the 10-day mark? Who's going to be the driver that says, okay, that's their 10-day mark, we got to get them, start,
My
get
department.
paid?
We have a
Okay, so we
substitute,
don't want somebody to come back and say, well, I went 3 weeks and they didn't pay me.
we have a substitute coordinator who will be responsible for that.
And then, and this is just getting into the, making sure we're covering our bases. When we say 10 consecutive days, is that the whole day they have to stay? Like, are we thinking about those things, right? Because if they come and then they leave, they go 4 hours each day. Are those true days, or those not? We need to make sure we have those rules in case somebody challenges us with, well, I've been here 10 days. Well, yeah, but you worked two hours here, you left early here. Just to think, to make sure. I mean, I think this is great. We want to get the best people, but at the same time, we want to make sure we have clear rules of engagement so that we know that the system's being used right, so.
Generally, not always, but generally when we call a sub out for a day, even if their teacher is only missing half a day, we'll keep them for the whole day.
And that's fine. I don't want to make the rules.
Yes.
I just want us to be
Yeah,
consistent with the rules.
We don't
Right,
send
we
them
gotta
home
be
because
consistent with
there's
the-
always a
I'm
need.
sure there's plenty to do.
Yes. Good question. We do have to, any new initiative, there's things that's going to happen that you have to make sure you
Right.
try your best to cover all those.
Consistency is going to keep us,
Yes, well, I figure
On the right
the
path.
most common question will be, how do we do a rotation, or how to make sure I have, but at that point, it's what is your certification and does it align? We're always gonna go there first. Do we have the right person for that particular vacancy? And then after that, we can
Because we want to make sure that our students are getting the education that they deserve, make sure that they have a teacher that is qualified to do that. Because, you don't want your student to be learning something that the teacher doesn't really know how to do.
Absolutely, and that's why when she's talking about the wellness program and employee satisfaction, a happy employee is going to be a more productive employee, and we're not going to see Friday, Monday absences.
yeah. Good stuff. Any other questions?
In our budget, it doesn't affect us that much.
It's
you said?
fiscally negative. I mean, I asked for a fiscal impact on this as we were discussing it, and you start by saying, well, how many teachers would we play? And it was like one or two.
This year, it'll just be one.
So
Last year,
that's
I was just gonna
zero.
ask, how many subs are we having in our district?
too many. Too many.
Too many?
Too many, yes.
Do you have a number?
I don't have it at the top of my
About
head.
active substitutes, we have about 70.
No, I think your question was, how many do we use?
On a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
Yeah, like
Yes.
how many are the
Basis.
long-term ones?
Oh, long-term?
Just one right
Okay.
now.
One certified.
But it's, I think the gist of your question was, on a normal day, how many subs are in the classroom? That's what, too many.
And that's, you said more or less about 70?
I didn't, I don't
I'm
have that
sorry,
data.
I thought you asked how many substitutes
Yeah.
do we have?
Oh, in total, okay, no, okay.
No, it truly, it varies. It depends on whether or not there's lots of field trips and things like that, but it could be 20 on a really, really bad day. I think one day, what was it, 46? But I think that was, we had multiple sports going on and different things
The
like that.
spring hits us hard.
Yes.
Parents too.
So the fiscal impact for the district would be negligible.
Yeah.
However, for that particular teacher, it would be a great incentive to keep them.
No question.
Keep that.
Particularly with our special needs kids who need continuity and consistency.
That
Oh,
consistency.
definitely.
Absolutely.
I will tell you that, definitely.
All right, any other comments, questions?
That was good discussion, thank you.
Yes,
Mr.
absolutely.
President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the updates to the compensation plan as presented.
A motion? Ron? Second?
I'll second it.
Leo? It is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the updates to the compensation plan as presented. All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. All right, our next item is to discuss and consider approval of budget amendments.
Mr. President, members of the board, this will have a fiscal impact. Many of you know, particularly you, Mr. Chapa, when you were employed here, a few years ago, the district changed their student information management system to Power School. Quite frankly, it's been a disaster. I don't know if that's too hard of an adjective.
I think they need to be sued personally.
And it's impacted, we have a business side and we have a student side, and it's impacted both. And so Mr. Carroll's going to go into a little bit more detail on what this means, what the cost is, and how we came about arriving at what we want to do. Mr. Carroll?
First of all, anytime you change systems, it is a huge endeavor, and there's a huge risk involved in changing systems. Because you have to take a lot of your historical data and get it into your new system. We did that 4 years ago, when we had some issues with the Ascender program that we were using 4 years ago. We did an evaluation, we evaluated the two other big products that were out there for the state of Texas, and we chose Power School. Disaster is a good word that I would say happened with the implementation. I don't want to place all the blame, but some of the blame was it was during COVID. Because I can tell you, I've had experience with doing implementations at CCISD, and the difference was the trainers came to your location. I had a trainer for a whole week, for 6 hours a day. They're there, they show you how the program works, they help you set it up, you run it, you know how to do it. We did, on the business side, it was 100% virtual. And I can tell you what I learned was, I'm not a virtual learner. Because someone talking to you on a screen, on these detailed things that can be built, and it was a disaster from the beginning, and I'm not gonna go into all those details, and that was just on the business side. And I can tell you, the business side includes HR, which is setting up all our employees so we can properly pay them and charge them to the right codings and everything like that. And then it's also the finance side, the whole budget. It's the whole system that takes care of how we pay all our bills, keeps tracks of all the vendors that we pay, everything financial, that's the business side. And then there's the student side. The student side, and we've got some people here that can talk about that, is exponentially way bigger than the business side, because you're talking about almost 4,000 students. We're talking about everybody's grades, everybody's classes they're taking, and every demographic piece of information on a student. Are they at risk? Are they bilingual? Are they GT? You name it, homeless. You name it, the vast amount of information that's on the student side is even greater. So we don't make this choice or this decision lightly.
Plus, we were being charged every time y'all called for help, were we not?
Yes, and one thing that I did find different with Power School is, for instance, we're still under contract with them through December actually this next month. That's when our current contract's in, and we have to renew with Power School, and that's one thing we'll talk about the timeline. We have to renew with Power School for 1 more year, because when we implemented with them, we implemented in the middle of the year. So our contract with Power School, we've already committed to renew for another year, so we are paying for Power School through December of 2025. And, but we have to have this duplication in order to get time to set up for the new system, to go over to a new system. So, there is a little bit of cost to that. So, because of the issues that we've had, because of the implementation problems, and I'll give you an example, the business portion, the version that we're on, they're stopped support of that this month. So I had to upgrade to another version, and I have to pay $5,000 to do that. My experience with other companies is, once you pay for the license for the year, that includes if it gets upgraded, if something changes, and you need to learn how to learn something different, it's all included in that price, and there's no other cost. With Power School, the problem with that is with the implementation, they didn't show us how to set the system up to be as efficient and beneficial. So when it had problems, and I can tell you on my side, I can't tell you on the student side, I'd be told, well, it's not working because you set it up wrong. And I'd have to go, no, your trainer trained me to set it up this way. So then we've had to pay additional monies to get more training and to get more support to make it work. And that instance has been also exponentially more on the student side because it's so much more data. So we said, Power School, are we happy with Power School? We're not. Are we happy with their support? We're not. So we said, there was some talk about, let's just go back to Ascender. Ascender is the program that's supported by the service centers. It was developed. The whole team of programmers work at Region 20 in San Antonio, and they're the ones that developed Ascender. It's had many names over the years, but it's developed into Ascender. So we said, well, we'll look at that. And then the other big company out there is Skyward. I'll tell you, in the area, CCISD uses a different form of Power School than we do, but it's the same company. But they're a huge district. If you go with everybody else in the district, in the region, I can tell you that Skyward, for districts our size, the larger districts, I'm not counting CCISD, they're like this, they're so much bigger than the rest of us. If you go to the next level, Flower Bluff is the next biggest school district in Region 2. And if you go to our peer group, or the districts that are about our size, the 5As and the 4As, the majority of those districts are with Skyward. The smaller districts, the 1As, the 2As, and the 3As, they tend to lean towards Ascender, but there are several ones of those that use Skyward as well. I don't know the exact counts, but those are the big players for it. So we did put together some committees, we did put together some groups, came together, brought teachers in, brought a sample of people in, and we had Skyward come and present to them and on the business side and the student side, and then we had Ascender come in and present on both sides. Based upon those presentations and our discussions and our issues and our getting together what we had, we decided that we would like to pursue going to Skyward. And I can mention some districts. I can tell you Gregory Portland, Flower Bluff, Calallen, Mathis, Robstown. I can tell you they're all on Skyward. And I know there's several more, blows me away. Agua Dulce is on Skyward, they're pretty tiny. And I know there's some other districts that use it. Yes, ma'am.
Are y'all gonna have one-on-one trainers here on site to help?
We are, yes. We're past COVID. We're past, this time the training will be, there might be some remote, but we were able to have people here in person for some of the training. And we're gonna try to do it. We learned a lot from last time. So there will be some duplication of time. So like I said, Power School is gonna get renewed until December, but that's also gonna help us through December of 25, because if we can get this ball rolling, we're gonna immediately start setting up implementation meetings. One thing that Skyward has agreed to, the implementation fee, which is paying for the training and getting everything set up, that's a pretty significant amount. But they've agreed to spread that out over the next 3 years. So the fiscal impact, the cash flow impact is not as severe. So that's a big help. I can tell you that if you just look the cost of the product, to have Skyward for a year, to have PowerSchool for a year, or to have Ascender for a year, I can definitely tell you that PowerSchool is significantly more expensive. Just the basic license for both systems and the hosting fees, because our size of the district, you can go two ways. You can host yourself, which means we would need to purchase a server, and we would need to make sure, or a cloud, and Rosie's not here, but we would either have to secure a place to make sure that our data was safe and nobody could steal it or do anything, compromise it or do anything to it, or we can pay to host with it's actually not Skyward or Ascender, it's with PowerSchool. It's a third party that does it. With those costs in there, PowerSchool is by far, just on regular occurring annual expenses, PowerSchool is significantly more expensive than Ascender and Skyward. And I can tell you, if you compare just those costs, Skyward and Ascender are virtually the same. The annual fee with Ascender and the annual fee plus the hosting with Skyward is virtually the same. So the biggest cost is the implementation fee, which thankfully they've agreed to spread out over 3 years. And there is going to be some duplication because once we start building the database for the student system and the business system, we still need it secured. So we're basically going to have to pay for the hosting services. We still have to secure our PowerSchool data until we're ready to move all the data over to the new system. So we're going to have to duplicate hosting expenses, which is it's about the same for PowerSchool and Skyward. That's about $14,000 a year for a 12-month period for the hosting. So that's about the same. So that's part of the amendment that we're bringing to you tonight.
So
Yes,
my
sir.
question is, Ascender, got it, didn't like it, sounds like. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There were some things 4 years ago that caused us to say, hey, we're having issues with Ascender, let's look somewhere else.
Okay, so then PowerSchool, decision made, presentation probably just like this, saying this is the next best thing. Now we're saying, how long have these people that have had this Skyward had it? Well, I guess ultimately, what are we doing different in our decision-making process right now that we didn't do that led us to Ascender and to
One thing I
Power?
can tell you, and I don't know if, one thing I can tell you on the business side, what I didn't know 4 years ago, because I was naive or just didn't think like when you go buy a car, you don't think to say, well, wait, does it come, I feel like when you go buy a car, you just assume it's gonna have tires. And I didn't think that I had to ask, is it gonna come with tires? But if I use the PowerSchool example, I'd be like, well, after I agreed to buy the car, oh, by the way, the tires are extra.
Okay. So
That's
that's
the-
what I want to know. I want to make sure we're doing the things
Right, because
so we don't
I'll give
repeat
you
our
the-
sins just because Skyward sounds like it's the next greatest thing and some districts are using it. And I understand.
I'll give you another example. On the business side, we start training with the trainer. We're using an Ohio database. So obviously this database, every state has a different, they have a different retirement system. They have different rules about what their state education department wants, they just have different ways of doing things and they have different, so these nationwide companies, they have to develop specific things to meet what they call compliance for each state. So, we didn't talk to, and that was my issue, as we were building the program, I would ask the question, well, we're building my payroll program, and we're building the deductions, and we're building how it does everything. Okay, how is this gonna affect TRS? I wanna make sure that it calculates TRS correctly. Well, the trainer knows nothing about the state of Texas, the trainer knows nothing about TRS, and then I'm also asking questions about PEAMS, which is our system of submitting data to the state. How is this, what's the best way to set up my payroll system so that the PEAMS data is easily sent to the state? I didn't speak to someone that knew anything about the state of Texas until I was a year into the training.
Also, the person pushing the system now works for the company.
That's a true statement.
So how did you get in contact with this company if you didn't speak to somebody here in Texas? Like, how did we even?
Well, I guess I would tell you that I didn't think to ask, am I gonna get a trainer that knows the specific things about the state of Texas? I just assumed it was gonna happen. Shame on me that I didn't know to ask. You're not gonna give me a trainer that knows anything about the state of Texas until I've already built the system.
Right.
And
Those
so-
are the lessons you've learned from.
Right, that's what I learned.
So have you talked to the other districts that you mentioned that have this new system? Have you talked to them and
I have,
said,
and,
hey,
and
you know, what are you?
Ms. Riggs has worked at 2 other districts that use Skyward, so she's from me, so I grilled her on, well, tell me how Skyward does this, tell me how Skyward does this.
So
Tell me
besides
how
just
Sky-"
the 2 that she worked at, why don't you, I mean, because if you're the one who's gonna be building it, then you need to be the one to speak to the people of, hey, if I have this question, or how are we gonna do this, or how are we gonna do that, or how do I do this? Make sure that they know.
If I may, because we come from Skyward districts where we were both principals, it is significantly easier to work with. There's no programming like you have to do with Power School. There's no repetition of screens where if you update one screen, it throws something off over here. It is very much aligned and built to do Texas things. So to, you know, when we talked about it before, we even had the meeting, Power School is a terrible program. There's just no other way to say it. It is, we've run probably by now, 4 years, so we've run 8 class ranks. None of them have been accurate. 0. It's 0 for 8. My counselors, I feel bad for them. They get the short end of the stick all the time. People feel like my counselors don't work with kids. And you know what? It's because they audit transcripts 20, 30 times, and they have to go line by line by line and fix things because the system just wasn't set up right. Skyward already has everything built in. You don't have to pick a state code. It's Algebra 1. There's a state code. It's already there. Where Power School, you have to pick it and make sure it's the right version of the right class that reports to the state. It is a ridiculous amount of work.
I'll give you the most extreme example on the student system. When we were told how to set it up, they told us how to go create the classes, and that's what we did. And then 2 years down the road, when things aren't working right, it's so hard, we're missing data, it's not calculated, then we find out that, well, there's another way to do it. You can build what they call a master, like he said, Algebra 1. You create your master Algebra 1 class, so then when the counselor needs to create another section of algebra, all they have to do, it's all been vetted and already set up, and all you have to do is pull it down from the master and you can put it in your schedule. They didn't train us to do that. So what we were trained to do is, if you've got, and I'm gonna use an exaggerated number, but you might have 15 sections of Algebra 1, our counselors are having to go in there and manually create, one at a time, 15 algebra courses. Well, when you do that, and all the data that's with it, it's really easy to make a mistake and maybe make a little like transpose a number or not have a code right. And then when you're trying to run the schedule or run a calculation, and then you're trying to find these bugs. And then 2 years later, we find out, well, you should have done it like this. Well, that's not how the trainer told us how to do it. You did not train us to be successful. You did not train us to set up our system the most efficient way. So, and to answer your question, believe me, when we had our presentations from Skyward and Ascender, I asked Skyward on my side, on the business side, am I gonna get a trainer that knows this? I must have a trainer that understands and helps me set up my system so PEMS works correctly and TRS calculations are accurate and easy to set up and easy to monitor and easy to do. And of course, I'm banking on them. I mean, I know they're salesmen and they're gonna tell me what I want to hear, but this time I asked the specific questions. Hey, am I gonna get someone that knows the state of Texas? My trainer must be familiar with PEMS. They must be familiar with TRS on my side. And the student system did the same thing as far as, and I will tell you, I sat in on the student demonstrations, and I will tell you, I've looked at the screens, and I have the issue on my side too. Power School, it is a powerful program, but it's not very user-friendly. When you look at the screen, you cannot intuitively figure out, okay, well, how do I get out of the screen? How do I make this screen do what I want it to do? And the student side's kind of the same way. But I saw the Skyward screen, you pull up Johnny, everything's there, the picture's there, here's all these tabs. Are they at risk? Are they, any possible demographic that Johnny might have, it's all there. Their health records are there, their schedule's there, their discipline records are, everything is there on one screen, and it's very easy to navigate. So,
I think the other thing, the issue we had today, let's just talk about today. Progress reports are supposed to go out. Ordinarily, in any other program, I'd be able to say, I'd like to print second period progress reports. It's fairly simple. Most programs, you click second period, click progress report, prints it, you put it in the teacher's box. This program that we have doesn't do that. So we print off 1,200 progress reports and have to hand sort them, and that's one person's whole entire
Not only that, just from the parent side of it, you could go into Home Access Center and you can go in to the other system and the grades don't match.
You're right.
So that's frustrating as a parent. So my next question is, the parents are gonna have to change the system that they're using too, correct?
correct. There'll be
Okay.
there'll be new home access center for Skyward.
When would that be?
Okay, the timeline is immediately upon approval tonight, we're gonna have, I'm hoping to have several meetings before we go for Christmas break, because we need to get the requisite amount of data. I'm not gonna get the years right, but we have to get, I think it's the 8th graders this year, we gotta get all their data into the new system. So for the next 4 years, we have all the information for our 8th graders to have transcripts till they're seniors. Am I saying that right? Yes. I think I'm saying that right. So, we have immediately got to get in there. January 1, when we come back from break, we're gonna immediately have to start building the student system. Because the goal is to get all the data out of Power School that we can, so we can accurately set up. And the goal, we would go live in the student system July 1 of '25. So while we're also getting all the data out of Power School and building Skyward, we're also getting Skyward ready to get the course selections out there so the kids can pick their courses and do all their stuff, so we can build the master schedule for 25-26, and then we'll be ready to go to start the 25-26 school year in Skyward. So officially we go live. Actually, Skyward's they're saying that the go live date, I think, is a month earlier. I think it's gonna be June the 1st. And the good thing about Skyward is they're also prorating their regular license fee. That even though we're gonna start meetings immediately, and we're gonna start building the system in January, we're not getting charged. They're prorating their regular annual cost. That's not gonna kick in until June. So we're only gonna pay for like 3 months of licensing for this fiscal year. That's part of the budget amendment tonight. Business system's a little different. I will say, thanks to Mr. Van Mitri, originally, here's another indication. So I said, when can we go live with the business system? And normally the business system, you want to go live on a quarterly date to match up with payroll reports, or the other day would be September 1, which is the start of our fiscal year, the start of our new budget. So when I asked Skyward, well, okay, so when can business go? Well, they have so many new clients coming on next year, they didn't have a slot for us to go live until January 1 of '26. Well, I immediately told them, well, that's not really good for me, because I'm only with Power School through the middle of December. That's a whole calendar year. I would need to renew Power School for at least another 6 months, because I would need to finish the calendar year so I could issue W-2s and 1099s and do all the annual stuff that I need to do. And so that would be an additional expense. I'd have to renew Power School for longer than what I would need. And because they said, well, we've got so many clients, new clients coming on, they don't have enough trainers and enough people to get us on. So Mr. Amitri pretty much said, well, if you can't get us in, the deal, we're gonna have to reconsider the deal. So they've agreed to say that they can get us on September 1, which it is much easier to build our side, because I live and breathe the account codes. I can build the account codes. The biggest challenge will be setting up the human resource part, getting all the employees' data transferred over, and get enough history transferred over. But that data is much easier to bring over than all the student data. So they've agreed to get us online September 1. And once again, though, we're only going to have to pay for a couple of months this fiscal year. They're not going to start billing us from starting January. They're really only going to start billing us for their license until the summer. So, and that's part of this amendment.
Have we
So-
gone up the chain for Power School because we are going to have another contract with them for one more year to let the people up above know
Well, I have.
what this district has been through
I
with
have,
Power
no-
School?
I mean, after jumping and screaming, I do have what they call a success manager. I have a Zoom with that person every 2 weeks. I did inform them last week that we were considering leaving. Because when I said, if we left, what if I needed you for another 6 months, what would that cost? Well, we normally don't prorate. Like, basically, I'd have to buy another whole year of Power School. And I said, well, that's not really, feasible for me. But believe me, do I want to go through another conversion?
No, you just
God,
went through
no.
it.
It's, I mean, I've just committed to 60-hour weeks. This is a monumental thing, but I do think it's in the best interest of the district.
Absolutely.
Do I want to pay do I want to pay for this conversion? Do I want to have this duplication, have these costs? I do not.
And what exactly is the cost? I mean, bottom dollar, like, what is it?
I can tell you the amendment that's before you tonight, obviously, it's an amendment that's coming out of fund balance, because this was not in the budget that we adopted, that started December the 1st. So in order to secure hosting with Skyward starting in January, once we start building the system. And then I said they're only prorating us for the license, not until the summer. And then they've agreed, they're only billing us for 30% of the implementation fee this fiscal year. So that's what comprises the $86,000 number in the budget amendment. And so then what I would need to do is, now, remember, Power School renews in December. So the budget that was approved for this fiscal year, that was approved back in August for this year, already has the renewal cost that happens next month with Power School. So Power School is already budgeted, it's already in there. So there will be no more Power School expenses unless we need some training or tweaking to do something that we absolutely have to have, which I'm hoping we won't have. And so I will have to ensure that next year's budget, when we come in August to adopt next year's budget, it will have the full year of license fees for Skyward Business System and Student System, which is approximately, right now, and we're locked in for 3 years. This will be a 3-year agreement with Skyward. And so the annual cost with hosting for Skyward is $81,483.
How long will it take for it to pay for itself?
It'll take, in the 5 years, it'll take about 5 years to pay for itself. We're committing, they're giving us a really good deal for 3 years. Because let me give you an example. A year of Skyward with hosting, $81,483. Our current year, a year with Power School, including hosting, is $113,000.
Plus all the nickel
Plus the nickel and
For
diming.
every time you pick up the phone.
Even if I tell them, now that I started hinting that we were looking elsewhere, they've given us a little bit of training for free, but very, very little. And they're giving us a discount because we got some more training for our counselors. They've given a slightly discounted rate for some training for our student system. And then I can tell you that Ascender is pretty close to Skyward. The current fee for Ascender for both systems is $82,000. So really, they're both, Ascender and Skyward are both significantly less expensive than Power School, just the regular annual cost. The only thing is the implementation fee is the huge fee. Now, we'll tell you, Skyward's implementation fee is a lot bigger than Ascender's implementation fee. But not getting into the specifics, unfortunately, about 10 years ago, I can tell you, and I've been here 14 years, 10 years ago, if we had a problem with Ascender, which back then it was called Texas, all we had to do was pick up the phone and call the service center here. And there was a guy here, I'm talking about my side, I can't speak for the student side, but for my side, we had any issues with payroll, budget, accounting, all I had to do was call Andrew. And if Andrew didn't answer the phone, he would call me back like in the next 30 minutes or probably before. And that was before we had Zoom and we could do team meetings. And he would tell me, all I had to do was say, it's doing this or it's doing that. And he would tell me specifically where to go and I'd know how to fix it. Well, on the student side, they had the same thing, but in 1 year, all the people that supported the student system, they all either left or retired. There was about 4 or 5 ladies that supported the student system. They all left or retired in 1 year. So there was this huge vacuum. There was no one here at this Region 2 Service Center that could help us. Whenever there was a problem, there was no help. So we divorced Region 2 and we moved to Region 20 and we changed our support to Region 20, which is in San Antonio. And we've been with Region 20 for the last 10 years. But since we left Ascender, our database was still there. I was paying a very small fee to still have access to the data that we had in Ascender. Well, now they're saying if we go, when we ask Ascender, it's like, okay, what would it cost for us to switch back to Ascender? What would the implementation fee? And give us another presentation about what's changed in the last 4 years and tell us, sell us on your system again on why we'd want to come back to Ascender. Well, part of the agreement is we have to go with Region 2. And I can tell you personally, there's Region 2, I don't know about the student side, but on the business side, they still don't have the support here at this service center that I think is adequate enough to help us.
Do we have support at the service center for Skyward?
Skyward has Skyward is very similar to Power School. They are a nationwide company. I think they're in all 50 states. So they have to have a division that's unique for each. They have to address all the unique things. Since there are so many clients in Skyward, they have, when you put in your ticket, you have to put in a ticket. When you put in the ticket, it gets elevated. It has to go to someone that knows the state of Texas, that knows the compliance issues. I can tell you that's the nature of the support of a huge system like the student system and the finance system. If something's wrong, you put in a ticket, you say the severity of it. So like if payroll's not working, we're gonna put in a ticket and we're gonna say, this is an emergency and you gotta bump me up and I gotta talk to somebody right now to fix it.
You're also gonna pick up the phone and call another district that has Skyward, and we don't have that advantage right now, because we're on an island.
That is
Nobody has Power School.
Kingsville, but they had it from the very beginning, and they look at our stuff and don't know what we're doing.
CCISD uses it's another Power School system, but it's not exactly like our system. And, Power School would say, well, what Mr. Alvarado was alluding to was, what I didn't know to ask last time was, okay, I just assumed, okay, there'd be reports that are already in the system, and there are a few reports, but if you want to get anything else out of the system, you have to go use another system called Cognos, which is basically it is a report writing system. And you have to know a teeny tiny bit of programming language, and you have to know how programming language works, and you have to know how to build a report from Cognos. And
They should have given y'all all of that. They should have scripted all of that for y'all.
And I'll say, I didn't know the right questions to ask last time, because I didn't realize the impact of going from, the only advantage of Ascender is, it is only used in the state of Texas. It's written by the programmers of Region 20. So, we realized switching to Power School, there were things that Ascender was doing behind the scenes that we didn't even know it was doing because it was written, it was like basically written for us behind the scenes. It was doing what it needed to do to meet the criteria for the state of Texas. And then when we switched to Power School, the people at Power School didn't know how to tell us to set up the program and duplicate what Ascender was doing behind the scenes that we didn't even know that it was doing. So I'll admit I was a little naive and not realizing going to a nationwide company that, but I was wrongly assuming that we would get properly trained to be successful in this state. But I can't tell, if I had $1 for every time I said to someone at Power School, I don't want to look at another Ohio database ever. You tell me you have so many clients in the state of Texas, develop a Texas database. Guess what? They have a Texas database now. Because that's what my success manager told me. Well, we have a Texas database. Well, it doesn't do any good now.
So Philip, let me ask you a question. Let me put myself in the position of a trustee. And I'm the one that is ultimately making the recommendation. So you commented that Ascender was built for Texas. It's Texas inside and out, that we went with Power School, which is a national company. Why aren't we recommending Ascender when we're telling the board our recommendation is Skyward, which to the layperson looks a lot like Power School. It's a national company and it's not Texas. So can you explain why we're making that recommendation?
The only difference is, based upon the demonstrations, based upon the questions that we've asked, basically viewing how the Skyward system works. Does Ascender work? Yes, it works. I just feel like the support that's available through Skyward and through our peers, because like Mr. Ramitri said, we can pick up the phone and call our peers and figure out, if we do have an issue. But Ascender is almost like a little bit of a step backwards. I think looking at it now, Skyward is like this in the middle here. It's a nationwide company, but it's got such a big presence in the state of Texas. And I will say, obviously, Ascender is Ascender is a recommended vendor, but Skyward is also. Skyward and Ascender are the two vendors that TA recommends.
So during intercession, they had, 25, 30 people in here, most of which, if not all not all of them, but most were from the campus. And I let them run through their collaboration and presentations and talk. And then I came in and I said, what do you think? And I think it was unanimous. I mean, overwhelming. I don't think anybody wanted anything other than Skyward.
And they saw all the presentations and everything?
Yes.
Well, that speaks volumes right there.
I think
We met with
so.
Skyward in the
Yeah.
morning, and we met with Ascender after Skyward.
And Ascender is run by the state?
It's run by the service centers. It's run by Region 20.
In San
which is-
Antonio.
In San Antonio.
But at the end of the day, this is gonna make the business side, your job will be easier. The school side will be easier.
I believe it will. And I also know that an unsuccessful implementation is not an option.
Well,
And I also know that it's, I mean.
You say that,
You're dealing with grades, you're dealing with.
You're dealing with
We
GPAs.
can't mess those things up.
No.
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 So.
And the
I'm not-
headache
I'm not
shouldn't
gonna-
be
I'm not gonna tell you that
on the
there's
counselors
not
and
risk.
administrators.
There is a huge risk of trying to take all this data and getting it into this new system and building this new system. There is a huge inherent risk of that.
Well, we
But-
need to be really careful with that, because like she said, it's the kids' GPAs. We don't want any of our students to be somewhere else that they're not supposed to be.
And
You know,
that
make
was-
sure the top ones are the top ones, and, everybody's in
And
the
that they
right
have all the
spot.
credits that they're supposed to have.
Exactly.
And that was part of the problem with the Power School, correct? That
Yes.
you could make the clerical errors like you were
Well, it
talking
wasn't
about.
even that, it's that they would send an update through our system, it would override what we just fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Again, I'll go back to the person that pushed it on our district works for that company now. And I'll end with that.
That is a true statement. But lots of lessons learned. This is an opportunity. I think this is our best shot. It's
So I
not
know
gonna
that
be
you're-
easy. And I think the way because it was in the middle of COVID, I think that also did hurt us in that it made it a little more difficult to get our staff engaged virtually to understand the importance of what we were doing. The importance now is, I'm not gonna blame Power School 100%, but Power School had a little bit of impact in the year we only reported one graduate. Power School had a little bit of impact in failing to accurately report our at-risk student population. Power School has had some impact in us submitting incorrect data to the state because we didn't know that we were doing things incorrectly, and we didn't properly, I think we didn't properly communicate to our staff the importance of the data and how we need to make sure that this data is accurate. And so part of the challenges that I see coming up when we're switching is, and I've already communicated to the principals to get their teams together at their campuses of, once we start this process, we are all in. And nobody gonna sit in the back on their phone while we're training. Everybody needs to understand the impact of all this data. And I'm not an educator, but I need the campuses to help us educate all the people on the campuses, all the people in the offices, and all the teachers, and everybody else in the district, that I wanna convey to them what I do. I live and die by my data. I look at my data all day long. That's all I do. I'm constantly checking the budget. I'm constantly checking expenditures. I'm constantly checking everything, payroll. Where are we charging people? What is the payroll? Why did the payroll of this account look different than it did last month? I'm constantly doing that. We need to install that new attitude and that new, I don't know what the right word is, but yes, we're here for the kids. We want to make sure the kids have everything they need. I want to make sure the teachers have everything they need, but I also want everybody to understand this data has got to be accurate, and we need to take responsibility for the data. We need to own it. We need to just take responsibility for it and make sure that we're doing everything every day to make sure that this data is accurate.
Or we live in this nightmare
Or
again.
we live in this night, because
We just have to be successful. Everybody has to do their part so that everybody is
Because
successful.
I'm not gonna blame 100% of the Power School implementation on Power School. There was a little bit on us about just the logistics and how it worked out. It just was not, I learned some incredible difficult lessons with Power School. And we don't have the same people now that we did 4 years ago when we implement. So I've communicated to the campuses, yes, we have a PEIMS person, but I can tell you last time, it was this PEIMS person in this district that was responsible for updating most of the data, and it's impossible for one person to do that. It has to be, the data's at the school, we need the school's eyes to look at this data, and here's the other challenge. We know we have data that's in Power School that might not be 100% accurate. So we're doubly conscious of, we're gonna pull data out of Power School, we're gonna scrub it, we're gonna look at it and make sure that it has to be, we're not just gonna take wrong data from Power School and dump it into Skyward incorrectly. We can't do that. Every piece of data that we pull out of Power School, we need to vet it, double check it. Unfortunately, counselors and whoever else can help the counselors, we're gonna be double checking everything to make sure that we pull everything out of Skyward correctly, out of Power School and put it in Skyward. I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna be easy, it's gonna be rough. It is going to be a project.
Well, the bottom line is, ultimately, it's my responsibility. Our number 2 core value is accountability. And if it doesn't get done, hold me accountable. Bottom line.
And I'll say the same thing. An unsuccessful implementation is not an option. It has to be right. I'm going on a cruise the day after Christmas, And then, other than that, I think I'm gonna be up here pretty much 24/7.
You live up here anyways, we know
So-
that.
Your truck's always up.
So, believe me, no one knows more than what I'm asking us we're jumping off a cliff here, and I'm making the dangest sure that we've got huge parachutes to get us to the ground safely and get an implementation. I'm not gonna tell you that there's not gonna be some crying, and there's not gonna be some gnashing of teeth, and there's not gonna be some long hours, but I think it's our next best option.
Well, something has to be done.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Failure's not an option, right?
That's correct.
Absolutely
It's
not.
not an option.
So with respect to the amendment, essentially, that increase is for running dual programs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And beyond that, it's gonna be cheaper annually.
The 113 for Power School is already in the budget. I need an additional 86,000 to cover the hosting starting January 1. And that'll get us through August for 8 months of hosting. And then, like I said, Skyward is only prorating the license fee for 2 or 3 months in the summer. So even though we're gonna start work now, you know, they're not charging me from January 1 or from December 1. They're not gonna start charging me for licenses until the summer. It's just that I do have to pay 30% of the implementation fee.
It will
Okay.
be cheaper.
But we've got
We'll have a good ROI on it.
3 years.
And one thing is, one
3-year contract.
And it'll be a 3-year agreement, and we did have that with Power School. We were locked in with Power School. The other problem that really bugged me with Power School is when we went with them, we had like 3,900 students. After COVID, I kept saying, well, I'm 350 students less, so a lot of the stuff is charged by the student. And of course, they said, well, you're in a 3-year agreement, and you can't lower it. So then when we renewed for the 4th year, it took me 4 or 5 months for them to send me a corrected invoice. I had to send them my PEMS report that said, look, this is what my enrollment is now. You need to lower, because they were billing me the exact same amount. I said, I told you I've got less students, so you need to bill me less. And it took 5 months for them to correct the invoice. Because I said, look, I'm not gonna pay you till you correct the invoice. And it took 5 months to do it. So that's what the $86,000 is.
Okay. All right. Other questions?
Mr. President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the budget amendments as presented.
Motion?
I make the motion that the Board of Trustees approve the presented budget amendment.
Oh, we went the Paul Mostello approach.
I did.
Repeat there you go. Any seconds?
I'll second.
All right, is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the budget amendment as presented? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Good presentation. Hopefully we get your life easier and make it better for our students. Sounds like we're
Absolutely.
headed in the right
It's gonna be a
way.
year of pain, and then we'll have, I think we'll have some positivity after we get it set.
Get some time and some money back, maybe. All right, next item is discuss and consider approval of resolution casting votes for Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Mr. President, members of the board, as an entity, you can choose to put all your 245 votes to one candidate, or you can distribute them among the candidates. And there's a list of the candidates. Of course, I'm sure you're aware, one of your fellow trustees is on the ballot. That's your prerogative.
I read this letter?
No, you don't have to read it.
Oh, okay, good.
It's in here,
Yeah, the
the
letter.
vote.
The vote is in there too.
Yes, you can make a motion to cast all your votes to one person, or make a motion to distribute it, and then determine who you're going to vote for.
Okay. Motion?
I'll make the motion that we put all our votes for Leo Gonzalez.
Second that.
All right. Mr. Chapa seconds. All right, it is the administration recommendation that the board approve the resolution to cast votes for the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors as presented. All those in favor?
Congratulations, Leo.
Thank you, guys. How much will they pay you for that?
That's probably exactly what we get paid, Mr. Chapa.
How's the meal on the appraisal board? Is our meal a little better?
They don't even have a meal,
That's what I thought. And it's during lunch?
if you're lucky.
All right. So the next item here is to discuss and consider approval of consent agenda informational items.
President Arriaga, if you can read the resolution, please.
Read the resolution. Oh,
Yes, sir,
okay.
please.
Thank you. All right. As a resolution casting votes for the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Whereas 5 directors to the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors are to be appointed by taxing units participating in the appraisal district through an election among taxing units. Whereas each taxing unit is provided voting entitlement as set by section 6.03 of the Texas Tax Code. Whereas these votes may be appointed to one or more candidates. Whereas a vote by resolution is required by section 6.0301 of the Texas Property Tax Code. And whereas on this 18th day of November 2024, the governing board of Tolosa Midway, correct, met in open session to consider the casting of its votes for the board of directors candidates for the Nueces County Appraisal District whose terms will begin on January 1, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing board of Tolosa Midway ISD that our votes are cast as follows. Leo Gonzalez, 245 votes. Is that right?
That's it.
It says we have 245 votes.
Yes, and you can say Caitlin or Luis Elizondo, 0?
Oh,
No. You don't want to do that, I'm teasing.
What now?
Rubbing it in.
That this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage, and it is so resolved, duly resolved and adopted by the governing board of Tolosa Midway ISD this 18th day of November 2024.
Outstanding.
Great job.
Now we're moving on. Okay. Next item is to discuss and consider approval of consent agenda informational items.
For the new trustees, consent agenda items are items that are fairly routine in nature that come up every month. So for time consuming, they're bundled, and then you can pull out any question that you may have and discuss that. Fair to say?
Absolutely.
All right, first one is the check payment register. Any questions, concerns, discussion? All right, next one is financials, October 2024.
Our percentages compared to last year all look pretty good, except that one that's at 125%.
Right, depending on which one that is. But yes, we're on track. I mean, and if you just look at cash, expenditures, not encumbrances, we're below.
Oh, I know what it was. It's the function key 96 for the TM Education Foundation, we're at 178%.
Yeah, that'll get corrected.
Okay.
All right. The next one is the tax collection report. Any questions? Number 4, declare surplus items.
Patrick, you want to say a few words on that?
Just, we have some extra furniture at the intermediate that I've really got to clear out. I don't have any extra room at the bus barn, so I'm doing just a furniture auction. It's really a bad time of the year to do an auction, but I need to get it out. If I take it out of there, then it's in a warehouse where it's not humidity controlled or anything, and it'll go to waste.
How does an auction work? Is it?
It's an online auction. It'll be through Lemons Auctioneer, so it'll be posted for 14 days.
Do you offer to the employees first?
We're not allowed.
They offer to the school. They offer to the schools.
The rules say it has to be out there for anybody can bid on it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Once the stuff is sold, where do these funds go? What
Has to go to the general fund.
Oh, it goes into the general fund.
If you, I don't know if you remember from the budget, there's revenues and there's expenditures, and then there's a number always at the bottom for $5,000, other sources. That's where any revenue we get from selling things. Now, if we sell cafeteria tables, that money has to go back into the food. If it was purchased with
Right.
federal funds, it has to go back to that federal fund. So
90%. Because don't we pay for 10% out of the general fund?
well, it depends on it depends on like, if we did only pay a fraction of these tables, the percentage of what we paid for them, that's why I have to keep track of what we pay out of food service. If we paid for it out of food service, whatever percentage we paid out of food service, if we sell it, that percentage has to go back to the food service fund.
Okay.
We don't generally have to worry about it, like for Title I, because really the only thing we ever buy with Title I are computers, and we use our computers till they die, and so we never have to resell anything that we buy with like Title I funds. But food service is pretty much, if we have an old oven that it still works, we get a new oven, we can auction off the old oven, that money has to go into the food service. But anything else that was purchased with general fund money, the money goes back into the general fund. And it's always that line item at the bottom, other sources. That's what that 5,000 is down there for, in case we sell any surplus items during the year.
So do you think the surplus will clear about 86,000?
It will.
Good try. Good
A lot of
try.
furniture.
We like it.
I am 99.9% sure that it will not.
And no other schools would need that equipment, like,
We've offered it, so I took pictures of it and I sent it to the principals. And it's really not usable. And Mr. Van Matry asked, would it be possible or feasible to save it for the new junior high? And it's just, we really don't have a place to store it.
We don't need more expenditures.
Okay. Next item is the enrollment report.
As of today, I don't know what that data is showing you, we're up over 50 kids from this time last year, and at 94%, that's about 500,000.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Great job by you and your team.
Good.
Yep. Need to get those homes built across from the high school, and we'll start pulling those kids in too.
Yeah. Last one is regular and special call board meeting minutes.
All right. Mr. President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the consent agenda items as presented.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right, Leo.
I'll second that.
All right, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the consent agenda items as presented. All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. We have a future meeting, December 16th, which will be our regularly scheduled board meeting.
We will more than likely have a special meeting prior to that, so we'll survey the board to see what works as far as time. Normally, we try to have them on Mondays, but we'll see what we can come up with, because we got some important business to do prior to the 16th.
That's good. All right, so it is now 9:39 PM
I'll make that
with
motion.
no further business to discuss at the time.
We're changing now.
Yeah, we
We have a motion to end the meeting.
I make that motion.
Kim made the motion.
I'll second that.
There we go. Marty second.
Monty, just so you know, we do that every meeting.
Every time.
You're stuck to it now. You gotta do it every time.
Yeah, every time now, you have to second.
All right, all those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. The meeting is now officially ended.